I can't believe I didn't score any FPL points. It was such a bad week. Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan and I definitely wasn't crying just then. Definitely no way. There is no reason to cry whatsoever. Everything is absolutely fine and everything is wonderful and everything is awesome. FPL was an interesting game, isn't it? It's a very, very interesting game indeed. How are we feeling right now? How are we feeling right now? There's some low scores in the chat. There's low scores everywhere, to be honest. And I'm gonna try and I don't know, maybe try and calm things down a little bit. We can have a group therapy session. Everything is gonna be fine. Don't worry. Cheer up. I mean, I feel like this game week just gone, game week 5, was so bad that I actually found myself laughing at the end of it. After Saturday, I was kind of feeling a little bit down. I was like, why do we bother? Like, it's frustrating because you feel like you have some control over your FPL team and how well your team's going to do. You feel like, okay, if I make these decisions, if I look at these numbers, if I watch these games, I can make the correct decisions and get the best FPL team and score some FPL points. And when you have certain players that, you know, you've never heard of in your life start scoring all of the FPL points and being the top scorers of the game week, then, you do indeed start to feel a bit helpless. But it is part of FPL. And by the time Sunday came around, I feel like as soon as I saw the news that Ben Chilwell was on the bench, I just basically threw my hands up. The frustration just disappeared. And I just started laughing. I just started laughing because you have to get to a certain point where it's just funny. And this game week was funny. It genuinely was. I feel like, you know, when we look back at this game week, whether that's in a month's time or a year's time, we're not going to be upset that our scores were low. We're going to look back and remember that time where everything that could have possibly go wrong did go wrong. And that's exactly what it felt like. A crazy game week. A really, really crazy game week. So yeah, basically, yeah. So let me just show you my scores. I'm going to hopefully make you feel a lot better. By the end of this stream, you're going to feel a lot better about Game Week 5, believe me, because this is my team. Yeah, so 29 points. It'll be 31 when I get my auto sub in for Kabore in for a Estupinian. 31 points is not particularly high. I'll be the first person to admit that it's a low score. Okay, we all know that it's bad. I'm sure most of you guys did better. I'm sure a few of you guys did slightly worse. But hopefully, the fact that I've got just 31 points maybe makes you feel a little bit better. And if you want to feel even better than that, let me tell you that the number 1 player from last season, the winner of FPL last season, I'm not sure exactly how many points he scored in the end. Someone in the chat might know the answer to this. But, you know, I think he scored somewhere around like 28, 29 points this week. He is literally the champion of FPL. And he scored, you know, like around this amount of points. So really, really low. So don't feel too bad about what happened in Game Week 5. Even the top managers, we're seeing that all of them have a really poor week this week. It's sometimes it's just one of those game weeks. Like it's a difficult one, and I know some people have said, listen, it's proof that the template doesn't work. The template picks aren't working, but I don't even know if that's necessarily true. It's not just that like players outside, you know, the template players and players outside the top 6 teams, they are scoring FPL points. But, like, also, how do you pick from those players? Okay, so say you don't pick template players. You don't pick players in the top 6 teams. You go outside of the template and you try and pick players who are a little bit different. And that's what people are saying, you know, pick someone different. The question is, where do you go? Genuinely, where do you go from there? Because even if you don't pick just template players, there are hundreds and hundreds of players that you can pick from that aren't template, or aren't playing for the big teams, and 90% of them are also scoring poorly because it's so hard to pick out who is going to score FPL points. So I'm going to bring up a tweet that I posted, like, I don't know, I think it was on Saturday, just to give you one idea of the kind of point scorers of Game Week 5. So obviously we had Erling Haaland scored a goal. which was great, I guess, but he should have scored a hat-trick easily. Maybe he should have scored 4 or 5 goals in that game. It was crazy that he didn't score more than just 1 goal in that game. And everyone has him anyway. So he is basically a nothing player. He's a nobody player. It doesn't matter. Everyone has him. Pretty much everyone captains him as well. So no big deal there. After that, look who the goal scorers were. So we had João Pedro, who I imagine a lot of you guys sold and is on a lot of you guys' bench as well. So even the fact that he's 12% owned doesn't really explain the full situation of João Pedro. Realistically, he's lower owned than that. We had James Ward-Prowse. Fair enough, a few people have him. Robertson, Gakpo, Gross, Douglas Luiz, Bernardo Silva, Bailey, Richarlison, Kulusevski, Welbeck, Doku, Duran, Hamer, and Hannibal Mejbri as well. So when we get to players like Duran, Hamer, and Mejbri, and these kind of players are scoring points, Welbeck there as well, Bernardo Silva, like who's picking him realistically, Bailey, Douglas Luiz, who is a defensive midfielder. The other 2 players that scored on Saturday, I believe, were Odsonne Edouard, who is about 2% owned, or was about 2% owned, and Callum Wilson, who is in a similar amount of points scorage as well. The following day, who scored? Well, only 1 player scored on Sunday. That was Trossard. So out of 4 teams, 1 player scored a goal, and that's Trossard. And Trossard didn't even start the game. He would have been a terrible pick going into game week 5. An awful pick. A lot of people have been selling him for the last few weeks because we all know that he's a terrible pick, particularly with Martinelli playing in that left wing position. And yet he scores, again, another totally random player. So it's not just, okay, we need to start picking players outside the template. That's a fair comment, but where do we go from there? How do you go from there? We can only work with the data we've got. We are not, we can't predict the future. We are not mind readers. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So it's very easy to look at this list of players that you see on screen right now and say, oh, I should have gone for that player. I should have gone for Duran. Were you ever going to pick Duran? Was anyone ever realistically going to put Duran in their fantasy team? No, of course not. You can be trying to think outside the box as much as you want. You could try and move outside of the template as much as you want. You are still not going to end up on Duran. Seriously. So, yeah, definitely I think there is some conversation that needs to be had about maybe we need to kind of widen our scope when we're looking for FPL players a little bit. But I don't think that is like an answer that will just solve everything. It just absolutely isn't. So these are the kind of players. And to give a better perspective, and I really, a big reason why I'm doing this stream and why I really wanted to do the stream today was just to try and make you guys just kind of calm you down, make you feel better about the game week. And here is another tweet that I don't know if you guys saw this. Maybe if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen it, but maybe you didn't. But here is another tweet. So this is a tweet about my mini league that contains me and my friends from my local area that we've been running for a few years now. I think 4 years now, maybe more. So in this mini league, only 2 people at the time I tweeted this. So it was last night. Only 2 people are on more than 50 points in my mini league. The guy who makes a team 30 minutes before game week 1 deadline and then leaves it for the year, and my wife who only picks players who have funny names. So there's 2 top FPL tips for you to take into next game week. And the point is with this tweet is not that we're saying, okay, if you've got good FPL points, you must be bad at FPL. No, there's actually a lot of very decent looking FPL teams that scored quite well this week. If you had Salah, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, and some Newcastle defenders in your team, then you probably scored quite well. And that's going to be a really good team. That's a really strong team. Like, it was a strong team before the game week started. It's a strong team after the game week started. But the point is that when a game week is kind of like game week 5, it comes down a lot to luck. Now, please, I do want to reiterate this. If you scored well this game week, that doesn't necessarily mean you got lucky. If you pick great players like Alvarez and Salah, etc., you earned that score. You definitely earned that score. But in the same vein, there would be a lot of people who didn't, who kind of didn't earn that score and did perhaps get a little bit lucky. When I say didn't earn that score, it sounds a little bit pretentious. I'm really muddling my words a little bit here. But what I'm basically trying to say is, sometimes you have those game weeks where, you can pick pretty much random players. You don't have to put a lot of work into your FPL team and you'll still manage to come out on top just because it's one of those game weeks where you can get favourable results, kind of without having to spend a lot of time doing your research and stuff like that. And sometimes it happens, and other times it doesn't. The most of the time, when we look over the course of the whole season, we will see that typically if you put a lot of work into your FPL team, you will succeed and you will do well. But when we look at these game weeks in isolation, then it looks a little bit worse. The problem is this season we've had a couple of game weeks now that where the sensible picks haven't really really performed. But hey, I guess we'll see what happens next. So yes, the FPL scope in the chat has just put, and this is a great point, and I did want to say this as well, but I may as well say it now, that the FPL scope has put it. When everyone fails, it's not that big of a deal. It's worse when popular players you don't own score big, and that's absolutely it's absolutely true. In a game week where everyone is scoring, well, not everyone necessarily, but when a lot of people are scoring 30, 35, 40 points, when a lot of people are scoring that amount of points, and you are as well, you know, if you score 25 points in a game week where a lot of people are getting 30, 35, obviously you've had a bad game week and it's not great. If you score 25, 30, 35 points in a game week where everyone's scoring 60, 70 points, that is when you need to be worried. When everyone has a bad game week, nobody has a game week. And that's a bit of a blanket statement because not everyone is going to have a bad game week. But what I mean is when a lot of people have a bad game week, that means not many people had a bad game week, really. You'd have to do really, really badly to really lose significantly at this game week, I would say. So, yeah, it's not a great situation. Don't get me wrong. It's an annoying week of FPL. Like, this has not been a fun week for FPL. Like, I don't think anyone's under any illusions there. But hey, look, it's that's FPL. That's part of the game. And some weeks we're going to have much more fun than others. And this was one of those slightly less fun weeks. But honestly, like I say, by the end of it, I was having fun because it was just funny. Like when Turner conceded today, and I have Turner in my goal, I was like, yeah, that kind of adds up. Game week 5. This is the meme game week. This is the banter game week, and yeah, it's just funny. Like, you know, sometimes it's just better to laugh it off because it is genuinely quite funny. Sultan with a super chat here. Thank you very much, Sultan. Says, I'm not going to swear on stream because we don't do that. But he said he had a bad game week, but we move. Who do I sell? Chilwell or Saliba? And thoughts on Jackson to Alvarez? Well, there's a lot of moves you might be thinking about making. I don't actually know if I would sell Chilwell as a priority. It really does depend on what else you have going on in your team. But I would say that Chilwell is one of the lower priority transfers. Saliba, it's a bad fixture against Spurs, but after that you might want him, so I don't think he's super high priority. Jackson, on the other hand, maybe I worry a little bit about Jackson, to be honest. Yeah. A couple of people in the chat, by the way, guys. Someone says they got 21 points, and someone said they got 13 points. So, yeah. I'm sorry to kind of call you guys out in the chat. Obviously, you put it publicly, but, you know, I'm highlighting these scores because I want you guys to remember, everyone else to remember that, you know, you think you've had a bad game week, you could be Zane, who has 13 points. You could be Gaming Zen, who has 21 points. You could be, who we got? I can't read that because I believe it's in Hebrew, and I don't read Hebrew, unfortunately. Maybe I should learn. Yeah. There's always going to be someone with a slightly worse score, I suppose. There's obviously lots of people flexing their high scores in the chat as well, but I'm not going to read that out because today it's all about making you guys feel happy and feel better and feel calm. So as far as you guys are concerned, anyone listening to this stream, anyone watching this as a replay, no one got above 50 points. No one. Not a single soul. We all did badly. We're going to ignore the people who did well. They can go have their own fun. They can have a little party in the corner. That's fine. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy. But us losers, we're going to stick together this week. We're going to stick together. JP 14 points. That's tragic. Okay, right. Let's continue. Let's continue. Right. So, what were the numbers like? What were the numbers like for game week? Oh, our internet is dropping a little bit, but it seems to be okay. What were the numbers like for this week? Well, kind of interesting. If we look at the expected points for this game week, we did see a few players kind of maybe underperformed and a couple of players overperformed, as would be expected. But yeah, Haaland, I did mention that early, 66 points scored. His expected points was 15.87. This is a guy who consistently overperforms his XG, consistently performs his expected points because he's so clinical. And yet, even Erling Haaland could not break the Game Week 5 curse, scoring just one goal with an XG of 2.69. And I believe in the first 4 game weeks, I think he only had like 2.69 non-penalty XG during that period of game weeks 1 to 4 anyway. So he should, in theory, be matching his points for the rest of the season in just this one game week. And yet he didn't. But I digress. Moving on, we've got a couple other players that I feel like are worth highlighting. We've got Kulusevski taking a lot of shots actually in that game and creating as well. So it was interesting to see a little bit more creativity from the wingers, a little bit more involvement from the wingers in that Spurs game. But I don't know if that was more to do with the opponent or not, because in those first 4 fixtures, we did see the wingers not so involved in terms of likely FPL returns. So that was interesting, but Kulusevski, maybe a little bit of a differential. Probably not going to buy him ahead of this Arsenal game, but a guy to keep an eye on, certainly, as we approach that Luton and Fulham game. A little bit of a differential there. And I guess we are looking to break the template here a little bit, aren't we? Trying to go for something a little bit different because the main guys ain't working, are they? We got Robertson, who did well. I should note that I mentioned this in today's video. Robertson, I feel like he was kind of playing a little bit more advanced than he usually does because of Trent's injury, and Trent's only going to be out for 1 more game week. So I don't think we will see too much consistency in the Robertson. Bernardo did very well, an overperformance, but he still did well in that game. Is it worth buying him? Probably not, even at 6.4 million. Might be a bit of rotation on the horizon when Grealish is back and when Kovacic is back as well. Ruben Dias is definitely worth highlighting. Want to talk about him. 2 shots. 2 in the box, 1 big chance, 0.61 XG. So he was getting chances to score. Aerial threat from those set pieces, definitely interesting. Nailed on, 5.5 defender from the best defense in the league, and he's taken a couple of shots on as well. I think that is interesting if you guys are considering going for something like that. Obviously, Salah did well creatively once again, but again, Salah really frustrating with his goal scoring. It just doesn't seem to be clicking quite with his goal scoring. I don't think that's really his role anymore, but with his insane creativity that he's displaying at the moment and the penalties that he's on, obviously, and he will score the occasional goal as well, don't get me wrong, he's probably not going to be a 20, 25 goal per season player this year, necessarily, but it's not just goals that get you FPL points, so it's still very much worth considering if budget allows for it. But I did want to highlight one more player before we go on. Now, you guys can read the rest of this at your leisure, pretty much. But I did want to highlight Marcus Rashford, because I feel like a lot of people will be looking to sell Rashford this week. A lot of people. I spoke about him briefly in my video earlier, but I want to talk about this one again, because I know some of you guys in the chat will be thinking, I'm going to sell Marcus Rashford. Well, first of all, the fixtures against Burnley, they're pretty weak defensively, and they really push their players up the pitch, don't they? They really leave a lot of space in behind, and I feel like that is going to be an absolute joy for the likes of Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, obviously, he did get an assist, but it was ruled out because the ball went slightly out of play, about a centimetre out of play. If the ball was like a centimetre back, then he would have got an assist, and I'm telling you guys, we would not be speaking, even considering selling Rashford this game week, because that would give him 4 returns in 3 games. He's already on three returns in 3 games, last 3 game weeks. He's got 3 returns, 2 assists, 1 goal. That's actually, that's buy the player kind of form, really, isn't it? He's like, watch Rashford. Manchester United fans, you'll back me on this one, I know you will. Watch Rashford play. He's looking promising. He really is looking promising. So, look, Bruno Fernandes, I understand it more so than I do Rashford. If I had to pick one of Rashford and Bruno right now, I would be going for Rashford. Would I be comfortable selling Bruno ahead of this Burnley game? Not really, not massively, but Fernandes is definitely becoming one of those players who is sacrificable. If you've got a midfielder that you really want to bring in right now, if you really want to bring in a midfielder, and you like most of your midfielders, but Bruno Fernandes in there. Bruno Fernandes is one of those players that could be sacrificed. So Coventry Tom says Bruno is in last chance saloon. Absolutely. If Bruno doesn't do well against Burnley, I think even me, who doesn't shut up about Bruno's underlying numbers, will have to concede that yeah, it's not going to happen. Mitchell says Rashford's too selfish at the moment. Well, I mean, he got 2 assists against Forest. He should have had an assist against Brighton, but that was disallowed. And he also has 0.54 expected assists in that Brighton game as well. So he created a big chance in that game. That's not bad. Like, yeah, he is a bit selfish. You kind of want that from an FPL asset, don't you? But, like, he is creating a little bit as well. Like, he's selfish when he needs to be. He's selfish at the right moments, and I think you want that, don't you? You want a player to keep the ball and take the shot on. What you don't want is this. When Chilwell a couple of weeks ago, was it against Luton when Chilwell was one-on-one with the goalkeeper and he decided to pass and it all went terribly wrong? You want that selfishness. You want that streak in your player, because that is what gets you, the big points. The players that get the big points are the selfish players. So yeah, I don't hate that as long as you're selfish in the right situations. And yeah, look, like I say, Rashford is creating a little bit as well. So in terms of Manchester United, guys, Rashford is a keep for me. I would definitely be keeping Rashford. He looks good. To me, at least. Bruno Fernandes, if you need to make a midfield transfer, he is a player that you can sacrifice. But do it with caution ahead of this Burnley game. And everyone else from Manchester United, I'm sorry, not sorry. It's time to go. It's time to go. So Hype in the chat says, when are we going to talk about our knee? Of course, our knee with another FPL return this game week. Absolutely ludicrous, isn't it? Let's have a look at... Well, I mean, he's certainly got one every game so far this season. So, yeah, 3 goals in the first 3 games and then 2 assists in the last 2 games. So, yeah, it's not bad, really, is it? It's not too bad. 5 returns in 5. People calling Salah Mr. Consistency. How about this guy, Taiwo Awoniyi, doing very, very well there as well. The problem is with Awoniyi, and the reason why I'm not going to spend too much time speaking about him is because it seems like almost suicide to bring in a player when they're about to play Man City away from home. It is the toughest fixture a player will face throughout the entire season, the away fixture against Man City, and I'm never going to feel comfortable bringing in a player. But after that, game week 9 Luton, me gusta. I like that one a lot. In fact, arguably from 7, 8, 9, 10... 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This whole period, really, there's no, like, really bad fixture in this whole period. Like you say, Crystal Palace away is not ideal. Brentford is not ideal. These teams concede goals. Liverpool concede goals. Aston Villa are conceding goals. So are West Ham. Brighton are conceding a lot of chances as well. Spurs are conceding a lot of chances. So even, like, the tough games in this run aren't really that tough if you're a forward. It's a nice run for Awoniyi, but I feel like if you're on a wild card, you maybe put him in. If you are not on a wild card, you maybe wait one more game week before bringing him in. Is there someone who could do a bit better for you this game week? An Alvarez, a Ferguson, someone like that? I don't know. I feel like it. I feel like it. Joe Heaton says, do you think it's safe to have triple Newcastle defence in Botman's share Trippier? It depends how you play FPL. There's kind of 2 schools of thought on this one. There's one school of thought is pick players you think score the most FPL points, and it's quite simply as that. If the 3 defenders you think are going to score the most points so happen to all play for Newcastle, then you pick them and you go for broke. On the other hand, and this is more maybe if you're competing in mini leagues or you just want to play a little bit safer, you can hedge your bets a little bit. You can kind of, instead of just betting on one horse to win the race. You maybe do that thing. What's the I forgot what the phrase is. You can tell I don't gamble. I don't watch horse racing. I've never placed a gambling bet in my life. What's it called when you can like bet for like the top 3 horses to win? I haven't like one of the 3 horses to win like each way. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, you bet each way, and you say, all right, well, look, I'm gonna hedge my bets a little bit here. I'm gonna go each way. I'll go for 2 Newcastle defenders, and I'll try and go just one player elsewhere. Or you go for 1 Newcastle defenders, and you pick 3 different defenders from different teams. You hedge your bets. You play a little bit safer because you know for a fact that if Newcastle concede, when you got 3 players in the same defence, Newcastle concede one goal and you're done, aren't you? You're donezo. You're finito. And you're going to be back in the misery of game week 5. You're going to start getting flashbacks to game week 5. You're going to say, this is happening to me all over again. I can't handle this anymore. I can't handle this. Eggs in one basket? Yeah, that works as well. Each way, hedge your bets, yeah. You guys get what I'm saying. That's the important thing. As long as we're making a little bit of sense, that's the most important thing. So yeah, Newcastle defense. If you wanna go for it with the triple up, then I get it. I definitely get it. If you're just picking players you think will score the most points, but it is not the most safe way of playing FPL. I'll put it that way. I'll put it that way for sure. Oh dear. Anyway. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, hedge your bets, and bet each way. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Right. Any other players that need discussing, do you guys think? Any players you guys are thinking about selling? I know some people are thinking about selling Son already. I don't think so. I'd keep Son. Maddison I'd keep as well. I would hold on to both of those players. If I'm on a wild card, I maybe don't pick both of those players, but if I'm not on a wild card, then yeah, and I have both of them, or either of them, I keep them. Fabian Schär, yeah, like him, good pick. Botman or Schär. I feel like Botman at 4.5 million, there's not really much excuse to not pick him. I said this in the video earlier as well. I'm just repeating myself a lot from the video earlier, aren't I? Maybe just leave the stream now and go watch that instead. I'm joking, of course. But yeah, Botman at 4.5 million, there's no real reason to not have him in your FPL team. He's one of those slam dunk players, so obvious. Sheffield United next. We've got some great fixtures coming up for Newcastle, having a look through these. So Sheffield United, Burnley at home, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Wolves. These are really nice. Even after Arsenal, we've got Bournemouth. We've got Chelsea, who are struggling to score there as well. We've got Everton away in Game Week 15. If you're wildcarding in like Game Week 10 or 11 as well, you can kind of you could even double up in the short term and then maybe take one out at a later date, possibly. Yeah, it really depends on your wildcard plan, really. I think I am sticking with the Game Week 10 wildcard plan, though. I just like it. Foden, yeah, Foden's been very disappointing, hasn't he? Foden's been very, very disappointing. I wouldn't blame people for selling him. He's one of those players like Bruno Fernandes, who you'd be like, okay, I don't hate this player, but at the same time, maybe it's time to move him on. I probably would be more inclined to keep Foden than I would Fernandes, or would I? I don't know. They're both great picks. Well, I mean, we thought they were both great picks, and I don't really want to change my mind too much based on that game week. But yeah, yeah. I think the question is with players like Foden and Fernandes, is who are you bringing in? Like, who are you guys bringing in? Like, who is like? Let me know in the chat, guys. I want to hear what you guys are saying. Who is like your number one midfielder that you want to get in right now? Is it a case of I just want to sell Foden, I just want to sell Bruno, or do you actually have a player you would like to bring in? Because if you're just switching a player who you kind of like for another player you kind of like, then what's the point? What's the point? You're not really making a good use of that transfer, are you? But yeah, looking through these, the top transfers in are like Ward-Prowse. I mean, you could do if you wanted to. I don't know if I'd make that move personally. Like, I would not do Foden or Bruno to Ward-Prowse. I would do them to Mbeumo. Diaby, a lot of people saying Diaby, to be fair. Okay, yeah, I don't hate that. The next two fixtures are not amazing for Diaby. We've got Chelsea away up next and Brighton at home, which is okay. Do we need Diaby now? Could we wait a little longer? I mean, I'm eyeing up Diaby for my Game Week 10 wildcard for sure because he plays against Luton and it's a great fixture. But yeah, Mbeumo, I see you guys saying in the chat. Mbeumo, definitely, I would do that one. Well, I think I'd do Foden to Mbeumo. I don't know if I'd do Bruno to Mbeumo. That's a mouthful. Easy for me to say. I mean, you could. It's an option, but I guess it kind of depends if you've got any other problem areas in your team. If the rest of your team looks like good, then Bruno to Mbeumo, it's not too bad. It's not too bad of a transfer. Bruno to Moussa Diaby, yeah, possibly. I feel like I would rather keep Foden or Bruno than Diaby for this week, and then maybe just wait for this week and then do the move. Maybe that makes a little more sense. Possibly. But yeah, looking through these other guys you guys are thinking about bringing in. Neto. Yeah, it's a nice opportunity against Luton. I guess you could go for a 1 week punt there. I definitely understand it. I definitely understand the logic. So, yeah, it's not bad. Gordon in. Not as keen on that one, to be honest. I feel like the attacking returns are going to be dominated by whoever's playing a striker for Newcastle, and it's going to be difficult to predict elsewhere. So if Wilson's playing, it'll be him. If Isak's playing, it's going to be him. Gordon, Barnes. I feel like I prefer Barnes. If both of Gordon and Barnes are playing, I think I prefer Barnes. There's more. Like, I know Gordon is like the in-form player, but Barnes is like, We know him as a player. We know he's a good goal scorer. We know he's a good creator as well. Like, he had insane numbers for Leicester over the years, didn't he? When he played there. And now he's playing in a better team. I feel like Barnes is just going to take it to the next level. Could be really, really good. Joe Heaton says, I genuinely like my midfield. Son, Rashford, Bruno, Diaby and Saka. It's a strong midfield, my friend. It is a strong midfield. Saka out. People are saying Saka's been pretty reliable as well, hasn't he, to be fair? Anish says, will Edouard be a good option against Fulham? I mean, yeah, not too bad. Yeah, you can't really complain too much. Does Edouard play Fulham next week? Does he play Fulham? Yeah, he does play Fulham. Ah, yes, I was getting my game mixed up. For some reason, I thought he was... I don't know who I thought he was playing. He's playing Fulham. All right, yeah, look, it's decent. It's decent enough. 5.5 million, a bargain as well. An absolute bargain. Is Watkins a sell? Possibly, yeah. He's not looking ideal, is he? Watkins? He's not doing enough. How many goals have Aston Villa scored this season? A lot, right? And Watkins is yet to score a single one. So here we are. Aston Villa have scored 11 goals, and Watkins has, 3 assists? That's it. Watkins was meant to be the main man. Well, last season, Watkins scored like 50% of Aston Villa's goals, maybe even more, maybe 55, 60%. You would have expect, if someone was to say, 5 game weeks in, Aston Villa are going to have scored 11 goals. If I told you that at the beginning of the season, Aston Villa are going to score 11 goals in the first 5 game weeks, you would think, Watkins has scored 4 or 5 in that period, hasn't he? Watkins has definitely scored a decent amount of goals. No. Yeah, his numbers aren't even that good either. Like, looking at Watkins' numbers, they're okay, but they're not like elite. So 2.25 XG, 1.04 XA. So that's like an expected like attacking return every other game. It's not really enough for an 8 million forward, I don't think. Especially when you compare like Watkins' numbers compared to all of the other forwards in the game. Look at this, guys. Expected points so far this season. And let's go per start as well, because I feel like that is important to note, because some players haven't started many games. But yeah, you've got like obviously Erling Haaland. We've got players like Morpay, Darwin, Ferguson, João Pedro, Edouard, Brown, Wilson, Nicholas Jackson, and then Watkins. Although, interestingly, Watkins' numbers are slightly better than Julian Alvarez's. Crazy stuff. But Watkins has never been an elite finisher. He never has. He's always underperformed his XG. That's always been a thing. It's just what he does. So, you know, you say Watkins has 2 XG so far this season, should have scored 2 goals. It's Watkins. He needs a lot of chances to score his goals, which is fine. Last season he did that, but yeah, maybe just a poor finisher. Like, maybe we can put him in the same kind of brackets as Nicholas Jackson, just in some bad form and not finishing their dinner at the moment. I don't know. There's got to be other places to go. You know, Alvarez is in good form. Ferguson is in good form when fit, obviously. Darwin is in good form when he's been starting, but obviously missed last game because of international duty and returning to England kind of late in the week. Yeah, where else do you go? Awani, Edouard. Probably not Awani this week. I think Alvarez is probably going to be the most popular transfer this week. But honestly, I'm going to go per 90. Who's like crazy per 90? Oh, some of these players have played like 1 minute. Of course, you get a lot of points per minute if you only play 1 minute and you score 1 point. Cheating, that is cheating. Yeah, Darwin could be interesting. I definitely think Darwin is interesting. I know a lot of people are going to go for Alvarez naturally, but if you're looking for an alternative, Darwin, Ferguson. I don't think I would touch the Newcastle forwards. There's just going to be rotation there, isn't there? Edouard, obviously. Awani, I would leave for 1 more game week. Højlund, I think, is interesting. I think he showed a little bit of promise, but you probably don't want to be moving towards the Manchester United players right now. Like, if you have them already, fair enough. You're probably not going to buy any more, are you? So, yeah, Darwin, Ferguson, and who else did I say? Edouard. Gabriel Jesus, if he can finally start. I thought he would start in Game Week 5. That didn't happen. But yeah, he's definitely a player who will be a good differential going forward as well. It's interesting. Dear. There's a decent amount of forwards, not a huge amount. And he says Watkins did better in the game weeks 21 to 31 last year. Yeah, he was insane for a little period there. Mitchell says Leno or Flecken or for a wild card, Dan. I would have said Leno, but I feel like Leno's good fixtures are gonna run out fairly soon. If you look at the fixtures of Leno, the fixtures are good like next 3, but after that it's Spurs, Brighton, Man United, Aston Villa, then Wolves, but then Liverpool, then Forest, which our knee will inevitably score in that game, but then West Ham, Newcastle. So actually, I feel like if you went for Leno last week or the week before, I think that was a good time to hop on him. The period to hop on Leno is running out. He's still a decent pick, but the time is running out for him. I would also think about Pope. I think he's an interesting goalkeeper, a little bit expensive and won't really get too many more than 6 points per game. Flecken's definitely interesting with the good fixtures. Everton, Forest, got Burnley, but there's a little bit of a mixture there as well. There's no like straight run because we've got Liverpool and Arsenal in 12 and 13 as well. But yeah, as ever with goalkeepers, you're gonna hold them for a long time. They're gonna have some good fixtures in that period. They're gonna have some bad fixtures in that period. So I wouldn't worry about the fixtures too much, but there still is good and bad times to hop on them. You know, if you're looking in the short term, a little bit at least. So yeah, it's kind of up to you. But yeah, I still like Leno. Flecken I like as well. Pope I like as well. I would potentially go for Leno. I feel like I will still be part of the Leno gang. And we'll see where I am. By the time game week 10 comes around and I play my wild card, I don't think I'll be on Leno anymore. Because the good fixtures will be in the past. Well, the best fixtures at least will be in the past. So we'll see. Basically, we'll see. But yeah, now I think I would still pick Leno. Assad says I did Jackson 4 yellows to Alvarez. Chilwell to who? Like I say, I don't think Chilwell is an absolute must sell. But if you really want to sell him, a Newcastle defender seems obvious. Trippier, Schär, or Botman. There you go. Dominic says, love people doing these early moves when UCL starts this week. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I haven't mentioned this, but yeah, I should say that we have got Champions League this week. Yeah. So be aware of that. Champions League is coming, and we might have an injury or two. We might see rotations. We might see new things. We might get new information. We only got to wait till Wednesday, and then we have everything. So we only got Tuesday and Wednesday to wait for, and then we can make those moves. Unless, of course, you want to wait for Europa League and Conference League as well, which is also a consideration, I suppose. Going to be a pretty short turnaround for some teams as well between European football and the weekend's games. Maybe Champions League was one of the reasons we saw a lot of rotation this week. I mean, certainly that's what I kind of said before about Newcastle would probably rotate a little bit. I said that I think I fancied Wilson to start, but that was because of Champions League. I think maybe we say a little bit more of that. See a little bit more of that coming in the future. There we go. Right, guys, any more questions? I feel like we probably... the thing is, I don't want to repeat too much of the stuff that I mentioned on stream or in the video earlier. I don't really have a whole lot to say in terms of strategizing this game week. I want to get these midweek games out the way first before we think too much. You know, wild cards I spoke about already in the video on Sunday, so I don't really want to go over that too much. There's no players that are massively standing out to me right now because of the last game week was just a tragic game week. There was a few players I wanted to mention, but you know, I don't think there's any big new hot properties that need to be bought this week aside from Newcastle defenders. But what is there to say? We all know the Newcastle defender situation. Leave some questions in the chat, by the way, guys, whilst I'm rambling on, and we'll answer a few more before we start to wrap things up. Because we're not going to stream forever. If we've run out of things to say, we won't keep going for no reason. But yeah, Newcastle defenders, it's a pretty simple situation. The more money you spend on your Newcastle defender, in all likeliness, the more points you're going to get. You get more creativity and attacking output from Trippier, and then you get a little bit of attacking output from Fabian Schär, and you get basically no attacking output from Botman. But in terms of bonus points, Botman does quite well. But in terms of attacking output, Botman basically has none. So the more money you spend on a Newcastle defender, the more points you're going to get. But they're all great. They're all great. And it's going to depend on your budget and what you're kind of working with there. So, yeah, I do think that this game week, the Newcastle defenders are the new hot property. They are the new players that you got to be getting. Matty Doody says, is Fabio Vieira a good move if he starts? Big if. Yeah, I don't know. I imagine we can see Havertz or, we can see Trossard in that position as well, potentially. There we go. It's CZ says, I was your first EFC viewer, liker, and commenter. That's insane, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We'll perhaps give that FC channel a little shout out at the end of the stream. There we go. Multigamer says, Dan's never got a secret account that's top 10k, so people who copy don't do well. I wish, my friend. I absolutely wish that were true. It is unfortunately not. I'm as much in the mud as all of you guys. Well, some of you guys aren't, but yeah. Dan Burn, no, wouldn't be going for him. The most rotation risk of that Newcastle defence, for sure. With obviously Lewis Hall coming into the club. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to see how that kind of works with Newcastle. What's going to go on there? Is Hall going to get some game time? Possibly. We've seen targets that get some game time already as well. Have we seen him get some game time? Yeah, started against Brighton. There we go. I thought so. So yeah, a little bit of rotation risk there. So yeah, of the defensive line, there's only 3. My internet has just been so bad. I need to speak to my ISP. I need to speak to my internet service provider because this is taking the mick recently. It keeps cutting out. It's just been a bit dodgy recently. Don't know why. Anyway, apologies for that. Dan Burn, 6'7", only gets 1 goal a season. How? Don't ask me, my friend. Don't ask me. He just doesn't really get FPL points. 1 goal last season, 1 the season before, 1 the season before that. Yeah. For a guy as tall as him, it really is bizarre, isn't it? Do you think Kulu could hurt Arsenal? I already own him. Not particularly, no. If someone's going to score against Arsenal, it's going to be the likes of... Has the internet gone again? I have no idea. I hope it hasn't. It's going to be the likes of Son and Maddison. They're going to be... Like, if I had to bet on who's going to score against Arsenal, it would be those guys. Yeah, those are the guys I'm worried about. Not so much Kulusevski, to be honest. If you're wildcarding in John Duran for Aston Villa, below 5 million striker, and you can see him being a starter ahead of Watkins very soon. I mean, I guess he has, like, I don't know, he's done some things, hasn't he? I guess. I guess I see what you're saying. I missed a super chat from Plitty earlier, by the way. I do apologise. If you're still in the chat, you said, when will my bench player replace Estupinian? Should be like tomorrow morning. It should fix itself. Yeah, it's, well, I say fix itself. It just takes a moment for FPL to update with everyone's final scores, but that's usually the maybe 12 hours, 8 to 12 hours after the game week concludes. So we're still in that between game week period, if you like, whilst we wait for the tables and the scores and everything to finalise themselves. It's a shame that they don't have like live numbers on the FPL website because there's so many external sources that do like live FPL stuff. But the actual FPL website, yeah, it doesn't seem to do it. Malik says, is Alvarez a must if I have Awani? I don't think Alvarez is a must, but he's a very good pick. He's close to a must-have, but he's not quite there. There are other options that are definitely viable. Get Moreno in. I'm not sure if I would be going for Moreno in yet. I'd like to see him get some game time first. And I don't really fancy him ahead of the Chelsea game either. Sell Martinelli. If he's injured, then yes. If he's not injured, I kind of fancy him against Spurs. I'm not gonna lie. Niall is a member for 1 month. Thank you, Niall, for sticking with me, my friend. Hopefully, I'll see you at the next FPL meetup, my good friend. Estupinian to Moreno. No, not sure I'd be ready for that move. I mean, it's like I wouldn't sell Estupinian at all. He's about to play Bournemouth, and he's like an elite attacker, right? Definitely. I don't think you need to sell Estupinian. The only reason Estupinian missed Game Week 5 was because, obviously, he was in international duty and he came back late into the country. So he didn't have any time to train and get himself ready. He just played a game on international and, yeah, he wasn't quite ready to start at the weekend. So I don't think there's any injury problem there. I think he'll be straight back in the following game week. Unless we hear something else during the week, I think Estupinian is definitely a keep. Definitely a keep for me. Richard Walker, member for 8 months. Wow, thank you very much, Richard. I appreciate that. No, it'll be nice to see you at the next one. Good to hear you'll be there. ItCC says, Chilwell, sell or wait till wildcard. It's optional. Like, if you have other priorities in your team, then I definitely I definitely wouldn't sell Chilwell. Like, I wouldn't say he's like the #1 priority transfer out necessarily, but if your team's looking pretty good, aside from Chilwell, you maybe got other minor issues that you're not too worried about, then perhaps Chilwell is the guy to sell. Yeah, obviously you would buy a Newcastle defender to replace him with. Makes sense, right? There we go. Joe says, I've been top of my mini league for the last 2 weeks. However, the downside is the league leader has to write a poem after each game week. Oh, well, I hope you're getting your poem practice in, my friend. Are we mixing it up? Or we got some haikus in there? As well as your classic poem. Jam Toaster says, did you notice Cole will play kind of attacking against Bournemouth? Yeah, it was only because he was playing left back, and Chilwell wasn't playing. If Chilwell comes back into the team, and I imagine Chilwell will come straight back into the Chelsea team. Do we really see enough from that Chelsea team? Like, obviously, Chilwell had a minor issue, but like not enough to stop him playing at all. And it seemed like the reason was mostly tactical, why Chilwell didn't start at the weekend. Now, if the tactics worked for Chelsea and they beat Bournemouth, or did anything against Bournemouth really, then perhaps Pochettino would be saying, okay, the tactical change works, we're going to keep Colwill at left back and we're going to keep Chilwell on the bench. But that did not happen, so I imagine that Chilwell will be coming back in. Mark says, I'll write you poems for mate for a small fee. I hope you talked to me, Mark. I would love to hear some of your poetry. I would be willing to pay for that privilege. Do we have any information on the Henry injury? I do not, but obviously we'll get press conferences later on in the week. What are you saying about Neto? I like him as a 1-week punt. Someone's saying about selling Wissa. I wouldn't sell Wissa. I would keep him if I already had him. I don't know if I'd necessarily buy him. I mean, to be fair, I might. But I wouldn't sell him. No, I definitely wouldn't sell Wissa right now, even for Alvarez, to be honest. Already sold Jackson for Alvarez today. Save that 0.2. Fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. Okay, guys, we're gonna have a quick look at the price changes, and then we will begin to wrap up this stream because we have been going for almost an hour, and that is a very, very long time indeed. That is way too much time. So let me just, for some reason, I've been logged out of Fantasy Football Hub. Let me log myself back in quickly, and there we have it. And we need to look at what do I want to look at? Price changes. There you are. Of course, guys, as always, if you want to check out Fantasy Football Hub and all their magical and wonderful tools, they are running a free trial at the moment. So go check the link out in the description to get your Fantasy Football Hub free trial. You will love it. I love it. I mean, you guys know I love it. I use their tools all the time. And it's not even just in private. I use them when I'm on my own. I use them when I'm on vacation. I'll use them when I'm in the bathroom. And I'll use them on stream as well because they're that good. So, we've got the price change prediction thing going on here. Yeah, you guys probably know the gist of this already, but if the target is over 100, it probably means they're going to go up in price, most likely, overnight. If their target is below minus 100, it means they're probably going to drop down in price tonight. So we've got Edouard, target is over 100, 100.75. His trend is 3 green arrows. I wish I got 3 green arrows. That would be lovely. But what Edouard has got 3 green arrows. That means he's going up. Target over 100, he's going up. Saliba could go up to 5.3 as well. Dogi, for some reason, people are still buying him. He's about to play Arsenal. Don't get it, but I have him in my team already. So I will happily accept the price increase. But I'm probably going to bench Dogi this week, if I'm totally honest with you guys. Anderson, Digne, and Romero are in a little bit of danger as well of increasing in price. Aside from that, we could see Højlund go up in price. Ward-Prowse will probably go up at some point this week. Robertson is trending upwards. Areola's trending upwards. Diaby and Alvarez are trending upwards as well quite significantly. Gusto trending upwards a little bit there as well. 3 arrows. Neto, 3 arrows as well. Leno. Yeah, these are kind of players that might go up in price by the end of the week. Maybe some of these guys like Ferguson and Doku, maybe not so much. But Yeah, the players at the top are the ones you need to worry about. Edouard, Saliba, Udogie, Anderson, Dina, Romero. These are the players most in danger of going up in price. Some of them will happen tonight. Others will happen tomorrow or the next day, I reckon. So there we have it. Players in terms going down. Who's going down in price? Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's probably going to go down in price tonight. Almost certainly, in fact. So is Grealish. Caicedo and Watkins are in danger of going down tonight, as is Osula, Taylor, and Mings. Other players circling the drain right now are me, Gabriel, Morpay, Bulldog. Why is Gabriel going down? He just scored some FPL points. I thought Gabriel owners would finally be satisfied. Bulldog potentially going down to 3.9, which is a little concerning because I have him and I want to transfer him out and I don't really want to lose any team value. Kovacic maybe going down. Solanke, Onana is, trending downwards for sure. Nicholas Jackson and Luis Diaz probably go down in price at some point in the next day or two as well. Botman has comfortably now, we know Botman has survived his price drop. He's now trending upwards. He was so close so many times to going down to 4.4. Just about escaped every time. And now he's been circling the drain for so long, he's suddenly trending upwards. But the good thing about Botman and the fact that so many people have been selling him for so many weeks means that Botman, even though he's one of the most popular transfers in, like for the whole game week, and he will be even more transferred in by the end of the game week, he might even go the whole game week without rising in price. He might not even rise in price before deadline because his trend was so poor before, so low. It might take him a while to catch back up and actually get a price increase. Interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Is Jackson going down? Yeah, we had a look at Jackson a second ago. No, he won't go down tonight, I don't think. But he is in danger over the next couple of days. So just be aware of that one. Right. Final thing before we go, I do want to give a little shout out, a little plug to myself. Hello, it's me. Look, there's my little head. It's over there. There's another little head of mine down there as well. I've made a new YouTube channel. Huzzah. I've made a new FC channel. FC, of course, for those of you guys who don't know, is the new name of the FIFA series games. So I will be playing FIFA on that channel. We'll be making some videos, but we'll be doing a lot of streams as well. And when we're streaming on there, we'll be kind of playing some FC24. We'll be opening some packs. We'll be playing some games and doing some squad battles and challenges and doing a bit of trading and this, that, and the other. But we'll also be talking about FPL at the same time. So we are going to be doing some more casual, laid-back FPL chat over there. The streams will be a lot quieter, so it'll be much easier for me to have one-on-one chats with you guys as well. So if you're into EAFC at all, or you just want more, for some reason, more of me, I don't know why anyone would want that. But if you do, then do go check out at FPL Mate FC. I'm going to spam, I've spammed a link in the chat there as well that you guys can probably see. And click on that. There's also a link in the description of this video as well for those of you guys watching this as a replay. Or you can just go to youtube.com/@FPL Mate FC. So it's just my normal FPL Mate, but it's just got FC at the end of it. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, if you are into that, we'll be doing a couple of videos. We're going to be doing lots of streams. First stream will be on Wednesday when the web app comes out. So hopefully I'll see a few of you guys on the web app stream. We'll be opening our first packs on the web app and doing a little bit of trading. But of course, we'll be talking FPL there as well. And then on Thursday, so the day after, I'm going to be getting access to the new game. We'll be opening some packs on Thursday on this channel as well. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you've got the bell notification on so you know when the streams are going live. That is very, very important that you do that. Make sure you've got the bell on so we know that the stream's going live. It'll be good to see a few of you guys over there for some more FPL chat, more chilled kind of vibes, and just have fun, play some games, have some chat, that kind of thing. So yeah, should be good there. So yeah, aside from that, guys, that's pretty much all I've got to say today. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like on this video / stream, really, really helpful stuff. You guys who just, I know it's just spending that like 1 or 2 seconds, like clicking the like button. I know it's not much, but it really does make a difference to the channel, and it really does mean a lot to me. So massive appreciation to all of you guys who are liking the videos and the streams. You guys are legends. Thank you. And if you want to subscribe to this channel as well, feel free. We're going to be back tomorrow with the buy, sell, keep, avoid of the game week, a video in which I have to, I've got to review my picks from the previous game week, so that will be interesting to say the least. Looking forward to that one. But yeah, aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.